But at the end of the day, these things here are going to put you into a neighbourhood which was going to restrict your freedom because, again, they're going to use the net zero, which, again, you need to look at Agenda 2030 and all this.
I've just served Sadiq Khan with a letter before claim. We've already got a case against Transport for London because what they have said, the equipment that they've deployed right away across the mass part of London is a camera, which most certainly isn't a camera.
Again, the question is, if this is happening to Blade Runners, right, and they're going round and the Blade Runners are chopping these things out, why have they not been arrested? Because they're defending themselves, is that correct?
Right, anything in that sort of orangey colour, you're basically soft kill. When you start to get into the red zone, you really are starting to, you know, be at higher risk.
The 20-minute neighbourhood, this is going to stop you from leaving that, is that correct?
Absolutely.
And again, Mark's got his...
That's going to kill you. We have a cancer epidemic, right, from this type of equipment that's been deployed. That is 24/7. The IGNOU guidelines are time sensitive. The British government tried to gag me in 2018 for speaking about this and failed, where a judge said I was expert in this sector.
So, hello everybody. So, today I'm in Edinburgh and I've been hearing about this man for a long time. His name's Mark Steele and he's taken the time out to come to Edinburgh to show me about what he's been doing. Now, as a lot of you may know, obviously I speak about the Jag and the harms of them, but at the same time, as times went on and things are progressing, I've started to have more concerns regarding the low emission zones, what's going on, what this 20-minute neighbourhoods, all this kind of stuff, facial recognition. And this man here pretty much knows his stuff. So we've came out to Edinburgh. We're going to do a podcast later, isn't that right, Mark? We're going to do a podcast, but we thought we'd do a walk and talk around the streets and Mark can tell people why he's been doing it, what his concerns are. Now, you've just recently, Mark, haven't you? You've just recently handed papers to Sadiq Khan, is that correct?
Here at City Hall, Mark and the boys are going to go and serve these papers to remove the ULEZ off the streets of London. Phased array electronic assault equipment deployed against us. See what's going to happen here.
Stop recording, please. There's no recording, okay? Can you stop recording, please?
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah? Can you stop recording, please?
We'll be out in a minute. It's all right, George. We'll be out in a minute.
What you here for?
To serve the legal papers.
Serving legal papers. Have got through security. Can you please take that away from the door?
We're in.
Just there. I think it's like $4, isn't it?
Yeah. I know they're doing wrong, mate.
Yeah.
I know they're doing wrong.
Public building like this.
Yeah.
A lot of security.
Hi. All right.
Who are you off to see, sorry?
Anybody from, well, you guys can take service, the legal documents to be served on Khan.
Okay.
All right.
If you want me, I'm the security manager.
All right. Yeah. As long as I get a receipt from you.
Yeah, can I give you a receipt?
Yeah.
Michael, have you got one of them receipts for me? Yeah.
And if these can be delivered to the legal department or the individuals, can you do that?
Of course you can.
Thank you very much.
No worries at all.
What would the legal cost?
No worries at all. Leave it with that.
Thank you very much.
He'll give you a receipt.
Brilliant.
4, Michael, yeah? 4, yeah. 4 letters.
Now, do you want to put on the receipt a letter before claim, the mayor's name, the director for public health?
Hang on.
I'll
just put 4.
Well, phone it. Yeah, just leave the best you
One for Sadiq Khan, one for Mary Hartley, one for...
The one for Mary Hartley. One for Mary, yeah?
Yep.
I'll just put Mary.
Yep.
Easy as one.
One for Thomas Coffey.
Thank you.
Lovely, yep, you're happy, I think the gentleman's happy. Are you happy with that, sir?
Happy with that. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thank you very much. Cheers, lads. Have a good day.
Bye.
Job done, boys.
Thank you.
Out of this place. That's sweet.
Ready. I've just served Sadiq Khan with a letter before claim. We've already got a case against Transport for London because what they have said, the equipment that they've deployed right away across the mass part of London is a camera. It most certainly isn't a camera, it's part of fusion, military civilian fusion. And what Khan is actually trying to achieve, which we're going to get stopped, we're going to have to stop it, is the militarisation of these cityscapes. Military equipment, fusion's a battlefield-derived electronic assault weapon system. Fortunately, the Blade Runners, who removed a number of these technologies, I was able to have a look inside them and found massive capacitance. We found a laser weapon, laser detection range and weapon system. These are phased array elements which have synthetic apertures, can fire signals at a person and kill them. The laser weapon, 175 watts in the beam, I can kill you with 4. So what they've basically done, they've weaponized the cityscape. So in Edinburgh today, to have a look at some of the similar equipment and try and deduce the dangers posed to the people of Scotland.
It's like I said, we're going to sit down, we're going to get more in depth how you've came about this. But I say we're in Edinburgh now, we're going to go around because, like I say, we're in front of a traffic light just now, Mark. You're going to show people in, like I say, the 20-minute neighbourhoods. Well, in Edinburgh City Council and Glasgow City Council, they've called it 20-minute livable neighbourhoods all around Scotland. And obviously down in London or down in Oxford, they've called it 15-minute neighbourhoods. Yeah. In my opinion, this is about complete control, taking away everybody's freedom. Would I be correct in saying that?
Absolutely correct. Net zero is a terroristic agenda. It's to depopulate. Everybody knows about depopulation. The globalists have said they want to kill 6 billion across the planet. They're going to try and achieve it through their 15-minute, 20-minute cityscapes. These are battlefield, militarised zones. That's what they are. And we know that because of the type of equipment that they've deployed. The biometric scanning type technology, what's connected to the JAG, we know exactly what was in it, and consequently that increases the toxicity levels in these cities. Now, at the minute, they're working on a project called Soft Kill. It's all just about large amounts of radiation, toxic amount of radiation in cityscapes. However, the equipment has the capability to strike. It's called Neurostrike. Chinese weaponry. Neurostrike was the development, military civilian fusion tech. That's exactly what it is.
See, the thing is, this sounds a bit far-fetched to everybody, but again, the question is, you actually got a shout-out. You actually got a shout-out on another podcast this week, actually. It was James English, a guy actually mentioned your name, saying you've got these guys bangs to rights. And again, we'll get into it in the podcast, but let's do a walk and talk. Again, the question is, if this is happening to Blade Runners, right, and they're going round and the Blade Runners are chopping these things out, why have they not been arrested? Because they're defending themselves, is that correct?
Well, there's a few being arrested, but we're waiting for court cases. I've already spoken to a number of the legal teams assisting, and I've given them enough information, so we've got a self-defence to the removal of these weapon systems. The equipment is demonstrably a weapon. They know that. The barristers are going to run these cases. Consequently, the government are in a panic. The state apparatus are in total panic, and they're pushing cases back into the mid-2028. And as well as other people, a lump of guys got code gun equipped. The police have no further action. I've got people who've used firearms, threatened people with firearms and getting them off. And I've had people getting off with an affray due to the fact they do not want this evidence in a court case.
Yeah, well, I'll let you walk in front of me, Mark, right? We're coming up to a traffic light right now, right? Which has got so many, I mean, this thing's got so many cameras on top of it. I mean, let's have a look at the camera system here. So if we walk up, I mean, you've got a machine in your hand. Do you want to tell us a bit about this machine?
Right, what that's doing, that's measuring radiation. Anything in the red zone, right? Anything in that sort of orangey colour, you're basically soft kill. When you start to get into the red zone, you really are starting to, be at higher risk. So we've found a lot of the equipment that's been deployed in cityscapes, masquerading as telecommunications. I mean, you can see how high that is now. Right, you can see how high it is. You're nearly at the peak of this meter. Now, this was a specialist meter that was built due to the fact that some of the frequencies that have been emitted, you can't measure them with normal meters. Meters normally go up to about 8 gigahertz, 9 gigahertz, usually off the shelf stuff. This thing goes up to 80 gigahertz, and a lot of the equipment we've seen deployed 44, 77 gigahertz. So just have a look at this. Now, this is quite an interesting piece of equipment. That's got a number of LED or laser diodes in the front. I really need to have one took in pieces. I'm pretty sure if it was in London, I'd be able to get a look at it. But you see that, you're going to be told that that's an infrared camera, and those arrays on the front are just LEDs. But to be fair, I really do need to have a better look at it. Okay, I really do need to have a better look at the equipment so we can find out what it actually is. And I need to have a look inside. The equipment in London, London's got mass capacitance that phased array, synthetic aperture, electronic assault weapons. That's what they are. And that's the reason why this thing looks a little bit of an older type design. However, we do know that Edinburgh Council have a contract with the same manufacturer to deploy the same weapons in Edinburgh. So that needs to be stopped. This is probably an earlier piece of equipment. And like I said, I can only tell, I'm not going to say it's a weapon system because I really do have to look inside. I can guarantee, I can confirm 100% that the equipment being deployed in London's weaponry, and it's connected to phased array radar weapons. They've actually got gun sights on, and they're aimed at the pedestrian as well as the traffic. Here we don't have, we see a camera unit. You see, I don't know what this is. Now think about it. You press the button. What's that? What's that actually aiming? What's that box aiming at the pedestrians? Just on there. So you've got these LED-type laser camera systems, and there you have, and you've got it on both sides. So when you get to the centre, of the. Let's just see what the radiation's like as we get to the centre. So you see. You've been irradiated front and back. There's another one there.
Make off this road.
Yeah. Absolutely. And no, totally illegal. They're completely illegal. The equipment's illegal. It was illegally fitted. These are mesh telecommunications networks. It's been no one to general public. General public done anything about it. I want about oblivious to what this equipment is. It's illegally fitted by the local authorities. There's been no public consultation. People don't know they've been irradiated to death at these pedestrian crossings.
So let's have a look at that one up there again. Because again, like I said, Mark, if you were to tell me this stuff back in 2021, 2022, do you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't believe any of this stuff, mate. I genuinely wouldn't believe it. It wasn't until you guys handed those paperwork, and then I heard the guy on the podcast say they've got him bang to rights. But I say I've interviewed Matt Hardy. He said this stuff, the 20-minute neighbourhood, this is going to stop you from leaving that. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. The equipment they're deploying in London, they've got a sensitive piece of equipment and talk to any of the newer vehicles, and it can switch off your computer system and actually stop the vehicle dead.
You see, it's just about, I mean, like you said, we go with the Jags, mate. We know that it's been harming people. People have been dropping down. Then we go, like I said, we don't know about this one, but I've seen the ULEZ cameras in London. They look like something out of a Star Wars movie, you know? And it's like, but we do know that there is technology out there that can do these frequencies, that can do these things. So it's kind of like, I don't want to think this is real, but again, I don't know 100%, but I've got a lot of questions over it, and I'm now at the point that we're not far away from this 20-minute neighbourhood.
Well, in a liberal democracy, why would your local authority want to scan, track, trace you right the way through this cityscape, and they call it's for traffic. What it's really about, if you look at the equipment, when I pull these pieces of hardware to pieces, what I see is, phase the rear. Phase the rear was actually developed and patented in 2006, an electronic assault weapon. So I say electronic assault weapons. These are battlefield derived. It's battlefield derived technology. Fusion is from the battlefield. And you can understand why. Somebody's firing missiles and bullets and bombs at you, so you need to see your enemy. This is the militarization of cityscapes right across the Western Hemisphere, and it's all been done covertly without the knowledge of the general population, and that's where the crime's been committed. Any telecommunications mesh network like this, you have to have full public consultation. There's been none. What we're being told in London is it's a camera, and I've got a court case against Transport for London. They're telling me it's a camera, and I've now put them on notice to actually have them indicted for criminally continuing with that falsehood. It is not a camera, it's a laser detection range and weapon system, and it's connected with a radar directional radar weapon system, both with synthetic apertures, both directional weapon systems, right across the whole of London. Mass depopulation and a massive radiation, a mass illegal irradiation. You've got experimental 44 gigahertz, 77 gigahertz, mixed fusion and laser detection lasers. These infrared lasers are a category at a Cat 2 laser, which is less than 1 milliwatt. You have to have a public warning. It's got to be a public warning, like a big notice, do not look into this equipment, right? And what we see in London is category 4s that from 800 milliwatts. So that's 800 times more than a category 2. 800 milliwatts to 1200 milliwatts, which would put them into a category 4. That's the highest category, and there's 24 of them in that phased array unit. And I can tell you now, it's a weapon, period. It's not a camera. It's only masquerading as a camera, and that's how they got away with it, by saying it's a low emission zone. It's total nonsense.
See, in regards to whether you want to believe this or not, maybe just listen, maybe just have an open mind. But what I'm getting at is, for me, it's about our freedom, and it's about this low emission zone, and it's about all these cameras going up, and they're trying to restrict our freedom. The 20-minute neighbourhood is in your Edinburgh City Council, guys. It's in your Glasgow City Council. Look it up, and we're not far away from it. And it's like, these cameras, it doesn't matter, it might not be what Mark's saying, but I mean, we're going to sit down to a podcast on it, so he can back up what he's going to say. But at the end of the day, these things here are going to put you into a neighbourhood which was going to restrict your freedom, because again, they're going to use the net zero, which again, you need to look at Agenda 2030 and all this. And again, Mark's got his...
That's going to kill you. We have a cancer epidemic, right, from this type of equipment that's been deployed. That is 24/7. The IGNOB guidelines are time sensitive. The British government tried to gag me in 2018 for speaking about this and failed, where a judge said I was expert in this sector. They tried to gag. Look at the radiation levels you're being exposed to. These people are walking across these pedestrian crossings and have no idea that they've been irradiated and been monitored, biometrically monitored, and the data has been harvested to go back to wherever, China, wherever it goes to. But that is absolutely catastrophic.
And again, Mark, it's one of those ones. If someone's living in the city centre, so where we are just now, right? If you're telling me that this thing's giving off radiation around about this point, I mean, there's people in the flats. We've been driving about in the car, you know, you've showed me it's in the red zone. If you're living in the city centre, we do know that there's things in the past that have proven that, masks have caused health issues. So if people are living in these areas in this red zone constantly, they're gonna be fucked.
Fibromyalgia, where you get people that, there's lots of disease currently where your doctor knows nothing about radiation pollution. And you will go to the doctor, he'll diagnose something else, give you a load of drugs, when in point of fact, it's basically just been irradiated. Cityscapes are not safe. You've got mass blanket coverage of radiation. And we heard the story. We've heard it all before. We've heard this before. Nothing happened. And guess what? What we're now seeing is we're seeing a cancer epidemic under 50-year-olds. cancer epidemic, which was predicted, now come to pass, and you'll still get people say, oh, it's all just conspiracy theory.
But again, mate, a lot of things that are conspiracy theory are now coming true.
Yeah.
Like I say, the Jags, we do know they've caused harm. You know, America's ready to pull it. And it's just more things they keep ticking the boxes. I tell you what, well, let's see if we can try and get another bit around Edinburgh. Like I say, we've just stopped here. This camera, I mean, I'm looking at it, it looks like something out of Star Wars. And I've seen the ones in London, which Matt Hardy's shown me, and they things are just fucking,
very naughty.
Very naughty. But I tell you what, let's see if we can try and find another spot in Edinburgh. And again, you can maybe tell us a bit more why you've got concerns regarding it, mate.
Excellent.
So, Matt, we're walking up to the next spot here in Edinburgh. What is it you've seen here? What is it you want to show everybody in this one?
Right, what I'm really concerned about is the scanning of pedestrians. When you're in a vehicle, you have a modicum of protection. You're basically in a Faraday cage. Now, what we've found with the equipment in London, it can look into the vehicle, but also then it traps the radiation in the vehicle, so that's a problem. However, at pedestrian crossings, where we've got cyclist pedestrians standing waiting to cross the road, they're being totally irradiated without their knowledge. They're having their data captured without their knowledge. It's all illegal. And not only that, it's carcinogenic. Fusion technology on the battlefield was shown to cause cancer in very young troops. And this is because it's a mix of different frequencies where you've got these, it's not like being in a house where you're exposed to your 2.4 gigahertz or your 4.5 gigahertz in your Wi-Fi. These are different, larger, higher frequencies, and consequently they pose a significantly higher risk.
So we're just coming up to another location. We're going to drive about and do a lot more than this, but I'm not feeling too good now. I've got a bit of heart issues going on, but we're just going to come up to here, Matt. And like I say, you're a bit confused by these ones, aren't you? And then what we're going to do is we'll just do a quick 2 minutes on here, and then we're going to go in and do the podcast, because I'm not feeling the greatest just now. Like I say, I've got heart issues and that, but is there anything you want to kind of touch on with this one coming up, Mark? I'll flip the camera on you, mate.
Well, there's one of the things I'm concerned about. There's a lot of equipment popping up around cityscapes, and I don't know a great deal about it. Anything over 3 meters in height, a telecommunications mast or a twig, like we see over here, there's a twig on the top of these traffic lights, an antenna. So you've got telecommunications on here, and what I don't know what it is. The local people don't know what it is. That means it's a criminal deployment due to the fact public consultation is not being taken. It's like the same as what they did in London. They did a massive environmental impact analysis on the deployment of ULEZ, but they didn't tell them there was phased array radar and lasers. What they said was it was a camera, so that environmental impact analysis was fatally flawed. The people didn't know what it was, and I don't know what this is. Does anybody in Edinburgh know what this is?
We'll take a walk up. Walk up.
I mean, if you don't know what this is, then like I said, if there's not full disclosure on what type of technology this is, and it all looks very suspect to me, right? Like I said, I'm not going to make an opinion on something unless I actually have it pulled to pieces. But what I can tell you, there's a number of these are phased array radar. It only looks like a small little thing. That is a phased array radar element, and I can focus it. See, currently, they're just spraying radiation into the environment, and you've got a cancer epidemic. So they're just spraying radiation on people, unbeknownst to them. However, because it's got a phased array element, I can use what's called a synthetic aperture, and I can aim the signal at a target. And they're weaponizing. These are military, it's fusion technology of the battlefield, and nobody knows nothing about it. Hence, it's been illegally deployed. If we don't know what they're doing, and you see a local council, I spoke to one in Newcastle last week, he's the head of transport. What he said was, they can basically do what they want, they don't have to do an environmental impact analysis, and it's all about the people moving through the cityscape. Well, people moving through the cityscape and being mass irradiated so that they get sick, ill health, eye damage. That cannot fly. So you see, you've got these absolute drones who are in positions of authority, right, where they're putting in this equipment because they think it's great because they can see the traffic flowing through the city. Sounds fantastic. What about the radiation effects? What about the detrimental health effects? And they're not concerned with them because the people who are making the decisions are as dumb as a box of rocks.
100%. But like I said, what we're going to do now is, Mark, we're going to sit down and do like an hour's podcast, and you know, you can elaborate a bit more on how you've came to this way of thinking and what's been going on. But I'm not feeling the greatest just now. We're going to go and do a bit more, but I'm pretty sure we'll get a lot more information out in the podcast, mate.
Well, there's one thing I want to do, John, just to show people this. We're not in a bad area, all right? So you see you're in the green zone. You're in the green zone, and as you can know, before, we were massively in the red zone, which is not safe. So that shows you the meter is not picking up a great deal of radiation here. Okay, very, very small amounts, which aren't safe, but they're not dangerous.
Yeah. Well, let's go and have a sit down to a podcast. So if you've watched this video, go on and check out the next one where we're going to sit down and me and Mark are just going to shoot the shit, mate. And bring the noise, I like to say, mate.